Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another student interview with the boy Bruno.
Great to
Bruno
be on
Tiny. Those of you who don't know Bruno either, Bruno is one of my one-to-one sales coaching students who I've literally just brought on end of January.
Yeah, literally.
End of January.
About 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
We've been working with each other for 2 weeks, and Bruno's one of those guys. He's been crushing it from the beginning. He's been a stud. He's been making money with appointment setting. You know, even though he only started in August, and he's joined because first of all he understands that in order to get to the next level, I need access to the next stage of knowledge, and you know he needs someone to hold him accountable as well and make sure that getting to his goal and getting to the sort of end of where we're trying to aim for is inevitable. So this is going to be one of those. It's going to be a really interesting student interview because I haven't been working with Bruno for long. Me and Bruno have been working with each other for 2 weeks, and there's so much, different things that you're going to find out about Bruno in this interview as well. But this is also sort of an interview setting the pace, okay? Kind of holding us both accountable here. Because at the end of this interview, we're going to look back in a couple months. And, this interview is going out to everyone, the whole world to see. It's going to be on my YouTube. Okay, so it's going to be kind of setting the standard, setting the pace, and we're going to be setting goals. And it's going to be really good for us to come back and see, all right, cool, have we hit these goals? How well have we done in regards to getting there? And it's putting you on the spot a little bit because you're broadcasting all of these goals. We better make sure we hit them out. We better make sure we smash it. And like as Rose said, we got to tear some shit up, man. But Bruno Tiny, tell everyone who doesn't know about you, who you are, what you do, where you're from, and a little bit about your journey and your story, man. Because you're a very interesting guy,
Yeah, so obviously, as you know, my name is Bruno. I'm 20 years old. I'm currently in my first year of uni. And yeah, I've been in sales for around 5 months now, since August, 6 months-ish now, getting to there. So since August, I've been in sales. I joined Alpha Setters originally. And then,
still is an Alpha Setter,
still in Alpha Setters, of course, 100%. Before sales, I was doing different type of side hustles, and I stumbled across TikTok, and I was pretty successful in TikTok. My best month being 7.5 to 8K in 1 month. This was when I was in college, so back then I was making bread, I was making a lot of money. Then even my teachers were getting onto me no way you made that much money from TikTok. They was so surprised, oh, how can you make so much money from just making some shitty TikTok videos, really. They was so surprised. Even my parents was no way my son's making so much money for TikTok. And I never worked a job a day in my life. I've never worked this standard job, a part-time job or McDonald's or retail or anything like that. I've always made money online, and yeah, now I'm in the sales space looking to scale that further, really.
So Bruno's clearly been entrepreneurial minded from the start, from making TikToks in year 12 or making TikTok videos and scaling to 7 to 8K as a content creator. First of all, tell us a little bit about that, bro. First of all, this is all about sales, and my channel is based about sales, right? However, when you're on TikTok, when you're posting videos like that, it clearly shows there's an entrepreneur. There's always been an entrepreneurial side of you. How did you find the journey with TikTok, and then how did that bring you to sort of where you're at now, where you're a sales stud as well? What sort of did you take from that?
Okay, so with TikTok, it kind of stands for me wanting to be an entrepreneur in the first place. So when I was younger, I don't really remember the first turning point, I want to make money online, but I just remember not wanting to work a normal 9 to 5 job. Everybody would ask you when you're younger, what's your dream, or what's your dream job? And I didn't really have a dream job per se, be a doctor or something to do going to uni and getting a degree or something like that. I've always wanted to work for myself. Even when I was younger, I wanted to be a YouTuber, for example, which is something where you're working for yourself, you're making your money like that, better than becoming a doctor or being in the medicine field or something, for example. And then in terms of TikTok, the way I kind of stumbled across that is I actually was scrolling on my For You page back at home, and then I seen this guy talking about how he makes 40K a month from making TikTok videos. So I decided, I'm going to join his Discord and see what it's about, really, have a look. And then I joined the Discord server, and you had to pay to get entry into the actual course. So it was actually a course on Discord, and then I was so broke, so I had £11 on in my bank account. I was in like what, year 12, first year of college or second year of college, sorry. And then it was £11 to join. I spent all my money on that course. I was literally broke for like the next like week. Obviously, my parents would give me money here and then. But I spent all my money in the course, and then the same night, it was like midnight, I went through the whole course in like the first night. I was literally so excited, and then literally just locked in from there, and then I was so dedicated, kept on like asking questions, joining group calls, stuff like that. And then eventually the delayed gratification paid off, and then started making money from TikTok, really.
So right there, bro, what you just said is so spot on. From even when you were in year 12, you had that mindset, which is that mindset, that not grind set mentality, but do whatever it takes. Put in the work, ask questions, student mentality, and in order to get to where you want to be, you were ready to put in the work, okay? And obviously that helped you so much when you were doing TikTok. You scaled to 8K, not 7K per month in year 12. But obviously, all good things, or all things like that, there's always ups and downs, okay? So obviously you scaled to basically 6 figures a year with TikTok, implementing all of those things, and clearly being a hard worker from the start. What happened?
So pretty much all good things come to an end, really, and
not all good things.
Not all good things, but
some good things, especially there's always journeys, there's always phases in life.
Yeah.
That good thing came to an end.
Yeah.
Tell us about that, and first of all, how you've been able to bounce back.
So in terms of how that kind of came to an end, really is TikTok had a new monetization program where you can make like a shit ton of money, like a lot of money. And with that new monetization program came with copyright and like using other people's content to make money from, which what I was doing essentially. But beforehand there was something called the creator fund where you can make money from anything. Like I could post a fucking video of some famous YouTuber and I could make money from it. But if you do that now, you wouldn't be able to make money from it. Only the actual YouTuber who would post it on their account could only make the money from it. Yeah. So therefore, I couldn't make the money anymore. So that stopped, and then I tried to like bounce back by making my own content. There's something, if you're in the TikTok space, there's something called like AI content, which is like popping off, probably still is, and that was a way of making money. But I just didn't really have the motivation, and I still had like $9,000 in like one of my TikTok accounts. So I was just like living off that, not really trying too hard. I had like $9,000 in my account. I'm in college, I'm chilling. Yeah. So then eventually the 9K just gone, disappeared.
Of course, bro.
Didn't make any money. Yeah. Didn't even get a job. So and then I decided, like I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. That like I didn't want to go to uni, even though I'm in uni right now. Like I've always wanted to like work for myself, make money online. So I decided like I'm not gonna like give up on my dreams of like becoming an entrepreneur. I'm just gonna change the plan. And I seen Temi's video come up on my For You page. Same with Yomi as well. Consistently like always coming up on my For You page. Yeah. Then I just decided to click on the link to Temi's Instagram page and then join his free school community from there.
So you took a loss. Most people, if they lose something that's making them $9,000 to $10,000 a month, they'll crumble. You know what I mean? They'll shell up. They don't know what to do. They'll kind of, I don't know, sit in their sorrows, or they'll feel bad about themselves or whatever. You took a loss, but instead of just sitting down, kind of laying in your own shit basically, you bounced back. You said, all right, cool. I can't change the end goal. I'm just going to change the product. I'm going to change how I'm going to get there. Because you always wanted to be an entrepreneur from day one, and I think that helped knowing exactly where you wanted to be. You just change the mission. Same mission, you just change the sort of inputs, right? How has that helped you? How has that mindset helped you? Because losing $9,000-10,000 a month, a role like that, going to zero, okay. But then having the drive, having the ambition to bounce back, you've clearly got some grit about you. Yep. And especially in an industry like sales, where you need to have grit about you, you need to kind of have that something about definitely. You. How has that helped you see so much success in sales? Because I already know how it has. Okay, if you can handle that loss, you can handle anything. Yep. But how do you think that's helped you?
I think one of the biggest things is when I was doing TikTok, one of the things I mentioned, I went through the casting like the first whole day. Yeah. I was literally like obsessed with like wanting to like make money online with TikTok and making it work. And I think that kind of transferred over to sales. I'm becoming literally obsessed with getting good at appointment setting and improving every single day. And it kind of stands for like the self-improvement side of things as well. Also like improving every day, trying to work on yourself, better yourself, kind of went into sales. So with sales, when I joined, alpha setters, which was how I got into sales in the first place. One of the first things I did was went through the whole course, and I made notes, and I went through the whole course again, and I made more notes because I wanted to like really like sink into my into my brain, like, so I know how I'm meant to be doing things really.
It's just taking in the information. A load of people will buy a product or buy a service, but not really take advantage of it. If I spend money on something, I want to make sure I use it.
Yeah.
I want to make sure if I spend $1,000 on something, I'm going to use it, bro. Because why are you paid for it for?
It's wasting money.
It's a waste of money, right? That is the same thing you did on TikTok, which helped you. The same thing you've done on sales, which is turning you into a stud now. You know, where you're an absolute G on cold calling. You're an absolute G on the dials. You know what I mean? That's helped you become such a killer and someone who's confident in their skills. It's all transferable. Now, no matter what, you know, we know what we're aiming for in the future, but no matter what you try and you aim for in the future, because you already know you've got that grit about you, that determination, everything's a sort of piece of cake for you, bro. Yeah. Does that make sense? Because you already have that foundation built. All right, cool, I'm just going to make it happen. I'll always figure it out no matter what. I am that guy. Okay, I take action. Okay, and that is what's made you special now to the point where, you know, we're 2 weeks working with each other. You know what I mean? You made like what? Almost 7 to 1 grand, you said last week from some of your offers.
Yeah.
You're fucking cooking, bro.
Yeah, literally.
Okay, you're smashing it.
I think one thing is having the self-belief in yourself. Like, you really have to believe in yourself that you got to make it happen no matter what. I see like a lot of people even in like the entrepreneurial space saying they're going to do this, saying they're going to do that, but they don't really have that self-belief that they're actually going to do it. And I think that's kind of what separates me from other people.
Exactly, bro. You've got that unbelievable doubt, you've got a bulletproof mindset, and that's something that can be developed. That's something that all of my guys I try and teach them, like, bro, there's no ifs, there's no buts, there's do's. Let's do. Always make it happen, always make sure you're pushing the needle, okay? Always make sure you're just contributing towards that end goal, okay? So that journey right there, that TikTok has kind of set the foundation from, you know, you've gone into sales and it's kind of a piece of cake because you've already got that belief, that self-belief on tap, bro. Tell us a bit about your sales journey, man, because now we know about your TikTok, we know what you've been able to do then, but, you know, tell the people about from the beginning of August or whenever you started in August, joining Alpha Setters. Tell us about, you know, some of the offers you've been on, some of the results you've been able to generate for your clients, and how has the sales journey been for you, bro?
Yeah, so when I started in August, obviously straight away with just getting to know sales appointments and stuff like that, and then straight away first day in doing outreach, then I actually stumbled across this account which was looking for a outbound offer, which was cold calling, and then I didn't really want to do cold calling, to be fair, at the point, because it's like dialing on the phone. It's like I wanted to do like,
it's not sexy, is it?
Yeah,
it's not
really
sexy at all.
I wanted to do something on the phone where I could be out and about, really.
Yeah, bro, it's not sexy. Sales is not one of those roles where, you know, people, when you're younger, you see people, you see when you're on TikTok, when you're scrolling TikTok as a young man, you see these guys in Dubai with all of the models, you see the Iman Gadzis driving Lamborghinis, and you're like, yeah, that is a sexy life.
Yeah.
Okay. But the actual aspect, you can live a sexy life like that through sales, but the actual day-to-day, like, I don't know, role of sales, it's not sexy, bro.
Yeah.
Whether it's door to door, you know, what me and Temi have been doing, knocking on doors, that is not sexy, man.
Yeah, no one wants to do that.
You know what I mean? Cold calling, that is not sexy. But it's about the skills it gives you and the life because I'd rather have a not sexy lifestyle, but have the ability to have a sexy lifestyle because of what I'm doing and because of the skills and the money I'm making, rather than have a perceived sexy lifestyle, but not be worth anything, not be anything of substance. That's the problem with a load of these online guys. But you didn't want to do cold calling, but you did it anyway. You bit the bullet. Yeah. How did you find cold calling, bro? Because your cold calling results are fucking mental.
Yeah, so at first, obviously, if you don't know me, I'm pretty to myself. Growing up, I was pretty shy. I'm very, very introverted. Something I'm working on. But when I first joined the offer, we went through a bunch of training, and then we literally straight to it, literally thrown into the deep ends, and then straight into cold calling. And at first I was so bad. I was really bad for the first 2 weeks. Luckily, the set manager had a lot of belief in me, because he seen I was working out, trying to put the work in, trying to improve every single day. So he jumped on a few cars, did some role play, stuff like that. Worked on the speaking, the communications, and the script. And then eventually over time, I just kept on improving and improving and improving, and I feel like the more I did it, the more I got better at it.
Yeah, bro.
So the more I did it, I just kept on improving, and eventually I booked my first call, and then when I booked my first call, it was like the
Just went on tap, bro.
best feeling ever, and then I just kept on going every single day.
It either when you start doing something, you're never always going to be bad at it. Alex Hormozy says this. I'm just a living, talking Hormozy reference point at this point. But Alex Hormozy says you're never always going to be bad at something. You're either going to quit, which we're not quitters.
Yeah.
You're either going to quit. It's either going to get easier because you get easier. No, sorry. You're never always going to be bad at something, okay? There's three things that's going to happen, okay? You either quit, and then it's not hard anymore because you're not doing it. You've given up, you're not doing it anymore. Or the thing gets easier for whatever reason. I don't know, maybe anything happens in the world, it gets easier, or you get better, okay? You get better, which means you're no longer terrible at it anymore because you've gotten better, you've performed the skills, okay? So obviously, you're part of Scale Your Sales. First of all, quitting out of the equation. You're never going to quit on it. But these two things, it's either going to get easier or you're going to get better. And if you get better, that means it gets easier because you've got more skills to actually get good at that thing now, okay? That's what happened exactly with you on cold calling, bro.
Yeah,
you didn't quit, you got better, and it got easier in turn of that, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. Tell us, what were some of the results you were able to see through cold calling? Not only for yourself, but for the client as well.
Yeah, so through the client, I think one of my best month, which was $3,000 in commissions, I helped him generate like £30,000 in a month.
£30,000.
£30,000
Through cold calling.
Through cold calling. That month was literally, so every single day before the night, I would have a goal of how many dials I would be doing, and that month I was doing 400 dials every single day.
Go. Absolute dog.
Every single day. If I don't, I'm not gonna sleep unless I do my 400 dials. So make sure to do my 400 dials every single day, or I'm not sleeping. And yeah, I think that was the main reason why I was able to generate like so much money. And there was other setters on the call and other setters on the team, and I was outperforming every other setter. And then eventually I got moved up to setter manager as well.
Because he's a dog. Yeah. He's an absolute dog. 400 dials a day, and you've got people who can't even send 40 messages a day.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Some setters struggle with sending 40 messages a day.
40 messages.
And you're calling 400 people a day. Do you know how mad that is? But it just comes down to what we're talking about. That just belief, that grit. I'm going to get it done no matter what. Absolute dog. And like you said, that was another thing. It's hard. It's extremely hard not to get good at something if you're doing it 400 times every single day.
Yeah, that's what actually I thought. Like the more I do it, the more I'm going to improve at it. So double the amount you're doing. Yeah. The more you get better.
Bro, I was looking at my gauges from door-to-door sales. We started on the 3rd or the 4th of Jan. Ever since the 4th of Jan to now, I've spoken to about 1,200 people. Obviously, when I first started door-to-door sales, I was probably drowning. I still remember the first person I spoke to, the first person I looked at. I was drowning. But a month in, bro, I'm a stud, bro. Genuinely, you know what I mean? I'm not turning this into about me, but what I'm saying is that doing it so much makes it unrealistic for you not to get good at it. Yeah. Exactly, bro. So for anyone, any setter who's watching this, if you're not good at something, you're not doing enough of it. Just do more of it, and I promise you'll get good. It's the same with everything. When you started working, you weren't good at it, but you didn't just quit. You didn't just sit down. You just carried on doing it, man. Okay? It's not always going to be pretty. It's going to be hard. There's going to be so much self-doubt. But one thing Bruno's got on tap is that self-belief. He doesn't show it, but he's got that self-belief. And that's what we're working on in regards to showing it, aren't we, bro?
And I think another point I want to make, when I was cold calling, is having the right mindset going into it. Because a lot of people, when I say I do cold calling, it's like, oh, no way you do cold calling, it must be so shit. But to me, it's like something difficult, and I think throw myself to the deep end and have fun with it, really. Every time I was going to call someone, I was like, yeah, this guy, I'm gonna definitely book him into a car. Even though I didn't book the guy into a car, I'd just be move on to the next guy.
Move on to the next.
It's like the same with door-to-door sales.
Knock on to the next one. Yeah, look into the next one. I'm gonna find sales in this block no matter what.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, if it's not you, that's fine. I'll find someone else and being happy about it. Living on a high frequency. That's what sales is about, bro. You mentioned earlier you're quite introverted, or you were a lot more introverted when you first started sales. How has sales helped that?
I think one of the biggest ones is me being on a cold calling offer straight away, having to actually speak to people. When I was younger, I used to just, go to school, be by myself. I would only be comfortable speaking or being born out with my like certain group of friends, and then everyone else I'd just be more to myself, really really shy, and go home, play video games all day, eat cereal, go bed. So being not around too many people, just like staying at home, being by myself really. And I think how sales has made me more outgoing is one, this cold calling offer, having to speak to people. I'm actually forcing myself to having to speak to people, which is making me, you know, being more confident, speaking to you guys, being here, being more confident. And secondly is, fuck, I just lost my train of thought there.
You've gone from being so shy in the beginning. I remember I first interviewed you.
Yeah.
Like I remember this was like we weren't even working with each other. It was like I interviewed for a while and I ended up choosing someone else.
Yeah, I remember.
But you were so shy.
Yeah, I remember.
You've gone from being so shy to being a lot more social. Okay. And the number one thing which I'm sure you can attribute to that is sales. It's extremely hard to not become a social person, someone who speaks to people when you're doing sales every day.
Kind of have to.
Okay. Of course you have to, bro. Any young man, and I'm sure you can, you'll add your 2 pence onto this, bro, but any young man, or anyone in general, if you're struggling or if you want to become more social, you want to become better at speaking to people, sales is an absolute cheat code. If you learn how to do sales, if you become good at sales, or you just start doing it, you get a door-to-door role, you get a cold calling role, even appointment setting. Obviously, it's not to that level, but even appointment setting or closing, you're going to see, like, in the span of a month, how social you become, how good you become at speaking to people is going to absolutely shoot up. I genuinely think there's no other way to get good at becoming social, become a social person, having that energy where people vibrate to you, other than sales.
Yeah, I think it's also because like, the skills that comes with it makes you more sociable.
Yeah, bro. It makes you so much more sociable, okay? So anyone looking to develop their sort of social skills, get into sales. That's the number one thing I'll always tell someone. Get into sales. I promise you, sales, when it comes to social, like, it's turned me into a completely different person. I was never quiet, I'd never say, but I wasn't great at talking, okay? But now sales has made me to something where I'm articulate, okay? I know how to speak, I know how to conduct myself. And I think it's been the same with you, right? What do you think's helped you the most with that?
Yeah, I think definitely have to say again, like cold calling, like 400 dials a day, like how many dials is that in a month? Like thousands of dials a month, thousands of people that I'm speaking to. There's a point where I'm gonna have to improve, and literally I was improving at a really fast rate. And I think that's like the main reason why, like, obviously the skills that come with sales as well. That's why I became more like a sociable person, less introverted, more outgoing as well.
And when you get into sales, bro, because the one thing about you is you haven't just become good at sales, you've become a better man. Yeah. The self-improvement aspect of it also. Okay, you've got an ultra marathon at the end of the year. Yeah. That's a bit mad.
Yeah, it's
not even mad. I'm not on that at the moment, bro. You're literally doing an ultra marathon at the end of the year. How was your self-improvement aspect? Or because ever since you've got into sales, you've been dialing with self-improvement as well. How has that helped you?
Yeah, I think self-improvement is something that everyone, I believe, should be on. Like, who doesn't want to, self-improve themselves? And I think one thing that self-improvement helps with me is like reading books. Like, I never used to read books or be a fan of reading. And I think one of the best book I've just read is Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. I think you recommended me actually. And that was literally like the best book I've ever heard in terms of like how far you can like push your mind and like stuff to do your mindset and stuff like that. And I don't know, it kind of like flipped a switch in my brain, like, I'm gonna fucking run an ultra marathon.
Exactly, bro. I remember Temi brought that book for me. Yeah. This was time ago, a long while ago. Temi brought that for me, and that book changed my whole trajectory as well. Okay, Can't Hurt Me, just believing in like unlocking that sort of. I'm trying to think of the best way to describe this. Unlocking that the extra bit in your brain, because so much of our human ability isn't untapped into. But knowing that you've seen someone run on a broken leg, understanding that guy is doing that, and I can't speak to 400 people today, of course I can. If that other man can do it, of course I can do it, right? And it also just comes down to the whole self-improvement as well. Like, who wants to be making money but a flimsy man?
Exactly.
I'd rather be a strong man who's making money. I'd rather be the best man possible who's making money. You have to have both. You can't just have one. You have to have all elements to the pie.
Yeah, definitely.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So your self-improvement has helped a lot in regards to the discipline, but obviously we know that from the beginning, even getting into sales, you've always had that, bro. Tell us, man, like, the vision for the future. You know, we've just started working with each other now, and you've smashed a big month already. Okay, you're in London with the boys, having a good time.
Indeed.
Going, we want to set the pace for 2025, bro. Tell me, or tell everyone watching at home, like, you know, like I said, we're going to hold you accountable a little bit. What does the future look like for Bruno, man? Because obviously I know we had our onboarding call last week, and, you know, we identified what we're looking to do and where we're looking to get to. But tell me, what does it look like for you, man? What are you aiming for?
Yeah,
What
so,
at the end of 2025, what do you want to have achieved, and how are we gonna get there?
so for the end of 2025, the vision, I want to hit 10K per month. Hopefully, me and Dave are gonna smash that out this year.
See,
10K.
that's that. Hopefully,
Definitely smash that
okay.
out. 10K per month. I want to start my online sales agency.
Another competitor.
I also want to drop out of university and just go all in onto the sales agency. They're like the three main goals I have for this year. Obviously, I have other ones like fitness goals, like run an ultra marathon, run my first marathon, run a half marathon, which I'm gonna do next week. Got many marathons to be running. I'm locked in on the running, and then I also want to start like combat training. I low key want to have a fight, but I don't know if we can have a fight and then like run at the same time and then go gym. But I'm gonna try and have a fight this year as well.
You can do it all.
Kickboxing or Muay Thai. I'm not decided yet, but I'm gonna get into combat training and have a fight. But yeah, that's sort of my main goals this year.
He's just gonna turn into an absolute stud, basically.
Yeah,
Okay.
pretty much.
Turn into an absolute stud. He's improving on all elements in his life. Not only just making money, but becoming the best man, physique-wise, mentality-wise, skills-wise, and just becoming an absolute just a G. Okay.
Literally.
What I love about the sort of coaching, the one-to-one students I've got now is you're all crushing it, man. Denver, you guys might not know him. He's not with us. He's crushing it. Yesterday, I just interviewed him. He's crushing it. Hit his first 5K month. Bruno, absolute dog. He's crushing it, and he's gonna make it happen as well. Okay, we've all got the same sort of goal. We've all got the same mindset, and we're all working towards it. We're young men working towards, you know, our goal, our end mission. Like Bruno, you're 20 years old, right?
Yeah, 20 years old.
You're 20 years old, and you're smashing it already, bro. You've got that mindset, bro. Most 20-year-olds just they can't fathom what they want to do. They can't fathom, you know, being at the point where they want to make 10K a month at the end of the year.
I see it all the time when I go uni, like just going out partying, drinking, not really knowing what they're gonna do in their life.
Yeah. So, Bruno, bro, I've put you on the spot. By the end of the year, both of us are going to make it happen. 10K a month, easy. Okay. First combat fight, ultra marathon, and just become the best man possible.
Literally.
These are all things I'm going to make sure I help you with too. And these are all things that we're going to absolutely smash up, bro.
Gonna come back end of the year, rewatch this video.
Come back. Or we'll have another one as well. We'll have another interview after.
Yeah,
And just cover every basis we've touched, some of the highs and the lows. But this is a great start to, you know, something that's going to be insane, bro.
Yeah, man, I'm ready to crush it, man.
Ready to crush it. Listen, Bruno, bro.
Thank you for having
Welcome
me.
to Scale Your Sales. You know, thank you for coming down,
No problem.
having the student interview. And yeah, bro, we look forward to seeing your journey, man. Seeing how you crush it.
Yeah, man, let's do it. Ready to crush it.
Let's go. Catch you guys soon.